Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every Friday on the show. He works for Cinemablend.com. Usually we have about a half hour to vent to each other and talk about each other's week and see what's going on. This week, we're diving into this after about 5 minutes on the phone together. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. And I'm not going to lie, one of my favorite parts of the week is the half hour we talk where we just blast things back and forth.
Are you kidding? I have to agree with you on that. That's, even though we still keep in touch with each other through the week, it's still nice to just have that moment of sometimes venting, sometimes just catching up, but it's really nice to have that.
I know, right? So anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. You watch movies and then you talk about them. What's going on? What are we looking at for movies this week? And I think I know the big one that you want to talk about.
Well, it's not only the big one I want to talk about, it's the big one of the week. But I'll start with something that I streamed. Prime Video has a new spy movie out called All the Old Knives. It's based on the novel of the same name, and it stars Chris Pine and Tandeway Newton. It's about a pair of CIA operatives from that worked in Vienna during a terrorist incident gone wrong. And then 8 years later, the investigation's being opened up again, and Chris Pine's trying to figure out if Tandeway Newton had a hand in it or who might have had a hand in it, if anyone did.
How have I never heard anything about this movie?
For some reason, this went pretty under the radar. I think they just announced it either a month or two ago. I saw it on my inbox and it's ooh, I like the sound of this, and watched the trailer and said, yes, I definitely like the sound of this.
Oh, so how is it? Is it good?
It's good. It reminds me of another spy movie / story that I love so much, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of components and execution that are in this story, and that's not a bad thing. I remember that story, and it felt like another telling of that, but it's a very clever telling. Because for the most part, it's Tandeway Newton and Chris Pine catching up 8 years later, sitting in a wine bar having dinner. And there's flashbacks to the past and all these other locations, but it's just these two people sitting in a room, piecing together this incident and trying to get to the truth. And it's entertaining. Obviously when you have Chris Pine and Tandeway Newton in leads, it's going to be exciting. And then you've got Lawrence Fishburne and Jonathan Pryce playing supporting roles that are very key to this investigation. And yeah, it's streaming now on Prime Video, and I think it's quite fantastic. Well, it's quite good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's very solid.
Real quick, did you see the picture of Christopher Pine at the Chris Pine at the opening for it with him and the gray beard and all that? Did you see the meme that came out with that?
No, I didn't.
So they put up.
See that people were.
They put up a side by side of him and DeForest Kelley from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and I'm not kidding you, it's spot on.
Spot on, despite the fact that he plays Kirk.
I know, but
Carl Urban is Bones. I'm putting that out there for the Trekkies. I know you know.
I know, but it's just one of those things. You look at it, it's like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Back in that brief phase where DeForest Kelley was rocking that beard and all the 70s fashions, he was quite hip when it came to making an appearance. I will admit that fully.
Hey, real quick, Christopher Pine, one of those dudes that can play old or young really well, right?
Oh yeah. They show it in this movie because basically what they do for aging is he grows I think it was a little stubble, and he has shorter hair, but then he has the stubble and longer hair for the flashbacks. It's only 8 years, but still.
Still, it's awesome. He's cool, and he's a dude I'd like to spend the day with just to see what Chris Pine does.
Oh, absolutely. And I would want to grill him about Smokin' Aces and Stretch, which if people have not seen Stretch, I don't know if it's still streaming, but this was a movie that the same director for both movies, Joe Carnahan. This is a movie that Chris Pine plays such a bizarro millionaire.
Yeah.
And he has it's basically a funnier, more edgy take out the edgy part. It's a funnier take on Collateral, where basically Chris Pine's this eccentric millionaire with a long ass beard. And he hires Patrick Wilson to drive him around to parties and orgies and all this other stuff.
Oh.
And the night keeps getting increasingly bad.
That's wonderful. Mike Reyes.
It is wonderful.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com. What was that one called again?
All the Old Knives. Available now on Amazon Prime.
What's our next movie up? We're doing the big one, right?
Well, got one more I'll mention, even though I didn't get to see it.
Okay.
And this is on top. Of very quickly. If you're into metal, there's apparently a metal-based coming-of-age comedy called Metal Lords heading to Netflix this weekend. Haven't it, but it looked cute.
Metal Lords.
Metal Lords. I think one of the creators of Game of Thrones is behind it, and Tom Morello has a hand in it as well.
Okay, that's kind of. Tom Morello's got a part in it.
I don't know if he has a part in it. He might be a producer or a co-writer. I just know that I think they were offering him for interviews along with the guy from Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's awesome. That's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. Boy, I haven't heard about Tom Morello in a while.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah? Is it kind of weird?
Yeah. It is kind of weird.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that, obviously from Rage Against the Machine, I almost like Audio Slave better. I'm not going to lie.
That is definitely a conversation to be had. I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'd be open to listening and researching that.
I'm that way in a couple things. One is, by the way, Tom Morello, did you know he's in a bunch of Star Trek?
No, but I know he played guitar on at least the first Iron Man soundtrack, or maybe it was the third.
Yeah, he was in Insurrection and he was on Voyager at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy like that.
Iron Man 1 and 2, and he has a cameo as one of the 10 Rings members in Iron Man 1.
That's awesome. Tom Morello's the best. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. All right, let's talk about Sonic 2. I'm interested in this one because my history
wow.
I am, because that was the last movie that Jason and I went and saw before the pandemic hit.
So we're just going to skip over Michael Bay's Ambulance, which I haven't seen.
Oh.
I hear it's good. I hear it's cool.
See, this is what happens when we don't talk for a half hour before we record.
I know, man. I know. Maybe we just I don't know. We gotta work this out.
All right, real quick. Ambulance. Michael Bay. You haven't seen it, you said?
No, but what I have been hearing is, I'm going to stumble over my words here.
That's okay. It's one of those days. We have an echo in the background. It's Friday. Nothing works.
Our heads are falling off.
I know, right?
They're not really, but that's just a nice little reference that I'm going to leave in here because of stuff we're going to talk about later. But anyway, Ambulance. Michael Bay apparently in a fit of boredom during the pandemic. Now, don't quote me on this, but I read this from the Wikipedia. He basically said, "I want to fucking shoot something." And he was anxious to get back to action. I mean, he was also producer, and he shot some second unit on the movie Songbird, which was the first movie to go back into production during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. So he was anxious to make a movie, and basically he told his agent, according to Wikipedia, "God damn it, I just want to get out and shoot something fast. I'm tired of being locked up at home." So that led to him taking on this relatively small movie. It's like a $40 million movie. I think it mostly takes place in the ambulance itself. And it's about a pair of adopted brothers played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. And they hijack and they steal a whole bunch of money from a bank. But in the confusion, they escape in an ambulance with Isa Gonzalez driving. Or she was driving, but then they take her hostage. There's a shot cop in the ambulance, and they're basically speeding away, trying to get away with $32 million.
Do you get any hint of Money Train in this?
You see, I have not seen Money Train, and it's been so long since I've even heard that name. But I don't know. Maybe.
You started explaining it to me, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like Money Train. Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It's not Money Plane.
No. Oh, God, Money Plane. Oh, boy.
I still have not seen Money Plane. I just know Kelsey Grammer's infamous line from the film that keeps repeating on the internet.
Hey, real quick, what do you think a movie would be like if Michael Bay went full tilt Michael Bay in a movie?
I think it would be Transformers. I think we've seen that.
No, I mean, there's usually someone pulling back on the reins a little bit with him, it seems like.
My dude, I wrote a story yesterday about how Transformers The Last Night cost anywhere between $217 and $260 million. I don't think there are strings being held back because those things made money. However, I think with a hungrier budget like this, he might be a little more motivated, especially because, pandemic stopped us all in our tracks. And to be that anxious to make a movie, like, I like seeing that hunger. He doesn't have to do this.
Can you imagine a Michael Bay porno?
I believe it would be a piano.
The helicopter shot alone would be worth it.
I'm just thinking about like the Transformer style score that would be playing like bah, 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 like
Autobots.
It would out. I know. The easy joke would have been Autobots, but you know what? If we're going to play with blue humor here, I'm going to at least put some effort into it, because if I lose my job, which I'm not going to lose my job, but if I lose my job, I got to do it with dignity.
Okay, we're talking pornos, and you're talking about dignity. Anyways, hey, real quick, if there was a genre that Michael Bay hasn't tackled yet that you would want to see him tackle, what would it be?
I would really be interested to see what he would do with a romantic comedy.
I was thinking the same thing, but I thought that was the easy answer.
Well, it seems to be the only answer, because he's done history, he's done drama, he's done historical drama, he's done sci-fi. I don't see him doing Bridgerton anytime soon. And apparently, there is an interview that he did recently that he said he would love to direct an episode of Yellowstone, or episodes of Yellowstone.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I still need to watch all of Yellowstone.
I still need to start it.
We watched 1883, and that's about as good of a Western movie as you'll ever see. I know it's a TV series, but you watch it as a movie, and it's awesome.
Well, I'll just mention it quickly because it looks like he did a Q&A screening for Ambulance, and he said, I would not want to do something like Star Wars, because the greatest, toughest thing for a director to do is create the world, and I like creating the world. But directing Yellowstone might be fun. The horses and the sets and hats and all the beautiful landscape, it's a fun show. So I would love to see that.
That could be interesting. Mike Reyes.
Even a murder mystery.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't know why, but I just thought a Michael Bay version of Knives Out.
Oh, my God.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line right now. All right, let's go over to Sonic, because, like I said, this is one I actually really want to talk about this week. Jim Carrey's back. The whole cast is back. You got Knuckles, apparently, and Tails, and Jim Bob, and what else is going on? Is it good?
Wow, okay.
There's a lot. Okay, truth be told, in the video game world, I was always on the side of Nintendo. We never had a Sega. I didn't get a ton into Sega or Sonic and all that. Like I had played it, but I'm not like really well versed in it. I liked the first movie they did. I thought it was fun and kind of it was stupid done fun, and I thought it was a pretty good video game movie.
I wouldn't even say it was dumb fun. It was just it was basically a lot of fun. It was a cool buddy movie.
Yeah.
Between James Marsden's Tom and Ben Schwartz's Sonic. Basically, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 picks up a couple years later. Sonic is trying to be a hero. He feels like he's destined for that sort of thing after his brush with Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey. And as luck or fate or consequences would have it, Robotnik comes back from the Mushroom Planet, and he is now aligned with Knuckles, played by Idris Elba, who wants to protect the Master Emerald. And he thinks, Sonic is his greatest nemesis in protecting the Master Emerald. And then, as if there weren't enough exciting characters on the docket already, Tails, also known as Miles Prower, shows up on Earth because he, got caught wind of what happened in Sonic 1 and wanted to meet Sonic. And Tails is also voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who's been voicing the character through video games and cartoons since, I believe, 2014.
Alrighty.
And it's so much fun, man. Like, if you like Sonic, come on, it's showmanship, okay? I got to give you a show. And yes, Sonic 2 is just as fun as Sonic 1. What's really cool about it is so much of Sonic 1, story-wise, is tied into Sonic 2. Like, most sequels maybe they'll mention things here and there, but there are, like, direct lines of consequence and things that happen in Sonic 2 that came straight out of Sonic 1.
Okay.
The lore gets expanded, and, it's solid on that end. But then everybody who's returning just shows up to play. Everyone. And it makes me so happy to see Sonic the Hedgehog be a fantastic franchise and one of the best video game series ever adapted into a film. And, Jim Carrey's still carrying out, and it's just a lot of fun to watch him. But it was also really cool to talk to him, because I did the interviews for this, and young me, the kid that grew up watching Ace Ventura and The Mask, was like, sitting inside like, holy shit, I'm talking to Jim Carrey right now. And he gave like this really cool answer about why he came back, because he doesn't normally do sequels. And he's like, you know what? He basically said it reminded him of like childhood innocence, like video games and just enjoying cool stuff like that. And you can actually able to see videos and read my stories from this on Cinemablend. And I think we're going to have a whole reel of like everybody's interviews put together. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is currently in theaters only. Go see it if you like Sonic 1. Prepare for Sonic 3 and the Knuckles series that are in development, because I think they're going to happen.
One of the kids in the building, or I call him a kid just because he's way younger than me, but one of the guys in our building, he saw it last night, and he said he loved it. He loved some of the humor that Knuckles does, and he said that he goes, Jim Carrey looked like he was just having as much fun as he's ever had in a movie.
Yes. Honestly, I noticed that in Sonic 1. Like the dance sequence that he does in his trailer was the thing that really hammered home. Jim Carrey is having fun. He's having fun being him on screen and just delivering this joy.
Yeah.
But everyone had so much fun on this. And what was really cool is I spoke with Tika Sumpter and Natasha Rothwell, who play Maddie and Rachel. Maddie is James Marsden's wife, and then Rachel is her sister, who, when last we saw her, was tied to a chair while they helped Sonic on his quest to best Dr. Robotnik. And talking to them, they were so excited to step up their characters because they get so much more to do in this.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really great gags that come out of it. Like, everybody gets their moment, and this really felt like Sonic 1 was the buddy road trip between Tom and Sonic mostly. But now Sonic 2 is organic world building where everybody gets a moment, everybody gets to shine, and you could send people off into different directions if you needed to with spin-offs.
You know what's interesting about this series, and you kind of brought it up a minute ago with the expanding of the lore. I think that's where a lot of video game movies go wrong, is when they try to incorporate the lore too much, because in a great example of it was, you remember not Poltergeist, the possession movie. Exorcist, where they start talking about, we're going to put the name of the demon on screen, and it looks good written out, but when you say it, it sounded stupid, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. So it's one of those things where when you start going into the lore of like a Sonic the Hedgehog, it's like, oh, that's awesome. You read about it, it's like, oh, wait. Then you start reading it out loud. It's like, oh, I don't know about this. We're on shaky territory here. I think that's where a lot of video game movies go wrong. Now that I think about it, I mean, you look back at a lot of video game movies, and it's like, oh, we're trying to establish, the lore of what happened.
That's any franchise. Like, even if you're starting a new franchise and you just overload it with all this stuff, that could be fulfilled in the sequel.
Yeah.
And there are definitely threads that are still hanging here. But if they're handled the way that Sonic 1 and 2, the way they were between Sonic 1 and 2, I have no problem with that. Because I was surprised how much recall there was of what happened and how much direct consequence there was.
Okay.
And they're definitely picking and choosing what they're adapting, because I read in another interview with the director, Jeff Fowler. He said that they're not just doing a linear progression in terms of like which games to adapt. Like, it's not just going to be Sonic 1. Like, this one mixes Sonic 2 and 3 together, which is kind of funny because back when Sonic and Knuckles was released, it basically combined, like, 2 and 3 kind of had a more cohesive story together. So it's kind of cool that they mixed. They're picking and choosing, but they're doing it very carefully. And it's actually, there's a story being told.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. So Sonic 2, go see it this weekend if possible. Switching gears over to the movie world of movie news. What's the big story this weekend, Mike?
Well, one of them is the Academy has apparently moved up their meeting. In fact, at the time of this recording, I believe they're in their meeting about disciplinary proceedings involving Will Smith. There was a letter from the Academy president that was reported by Fox News saying that thanks to Will Smith's resignation of Academy membership last week, expulsion and suspension were off the table. So now the legally prescribed timeline did no longer applied, and they basically moved up the meeting to today. They're currently having a big Zoom meeting with the board for...
If I remember right, last Friday when we talked, we were talking about what was going to happen, and then shortly after, the podcast went up, Will Smith came out and said that he was leaving the Academy. That was Friday night, right?
I believe that was Friday, yes. It might have been Friday afternoon even.
You know what it reeked a ton of to me?
What?
So in the world of college sports, whenever anybody gets caught, what the university will do is they'll impose their own sanctions on themselves. They'll say, "Hey, we're going to cut the number of scholarships we're giving away, and we won't. We'll remove ourselves from postseason play or tournaments or whatever for X number of years or whatever, in hopes that when the NCAA comes down on them, that it's not as hard because they already punished themselves." That's what this screamed of to me.
I mean, it doesn't sound. Again, no opinion on this matter. But it doesn't. It sounds like that may be the case. Like basically a sort of gesture of good faith and sort of an admission of I made a mistake. I am sorry. And then he also mentioned in his resignation that he would fully yield to whatever disciplinary measures they do but they do prescribe.
Yeah.
We don't know what that'll be or what that'll entail. But again, kicking him out or suspending his membership is off the table. Who I don't think they would ask him to give back his award. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to.
You know what? In this situation, you got to set a precedent that we can't have people coming out of the stands to slap people. I say you ban his ass for life. Be like, sorry, dude, you made the choice. Like if it is real, and that's kind of the way we're looking at this now. You know what? Sorry, you made a bad move. This is the consequence. You're done. You're not invited back to this party.
Again, I have no real strong
I know
opinion
you can't.
on these actions, but I think that it's just a case of let the punishment fit the crime, so to speak. Even though it is technically a crime, but Chris Rock refused to press charges. It's something that's definitely going to have to be handled in the bylaws, and there's definitely something that'll probably be built into just whatever ethics code they have for attending the ceremony to begin with. I'm sure there's some sort of riders that are in Academy code that say, look, if you attend the ceremony, you can't do this, this, and this. You have to do this, this, and this. I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes addressed by that.
You can't walk into the stage and slap somebody.
But seriously, the big question is how does the Academy handle this when we still have conflicting reports on whether they asked him to leave or not? And the court of public opinion is always going to weigh in on this. And the Academy has always been about the viewers, about how the public sees them. They're probably weighing right now, what would the sanctions against Will Smith, what actions against Will Smith where's the limit that they lose the audience further?
Yeah. No,
I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I'm saying that's probably what's going into this calculus.
I have no doubt that there's a lot going into this, but when it comes down to it, you had someone come up out of the crowd at your party and slap one of your people. That's the kind of the long and short of the story, right?
That's what happened. That is literally what happened. I don't think it would just be 1 year. I think if they're going to bar him because, again, since he is no longer a member of the Academy, if he's invited to the Oscar ceremony, he's going to be allowed to attend.
Yeah.
He just cannot vote for the awards, and he basically does not have the privileges of a member. However, next year's ceremony, according to the usual procedure, he would be the one presenting the Oscar for Best Actress, if I remember correctly, because it's usually the gender swapped and in the equivalent category. I think that would be the very least that would happen, is that he is not allowed to do that.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, he wasn't even, another Academy hallmark is the photo with all the acting winners together. But this year, that also changed because he was not present in the photo. It was just Jessica Chastain, Trey Kotzer, and...
Yeah, okay.
I'm missing and Ariana DeBose.
Oh, all right. And again, at the time of recording this, it was about 11:30 Central Time. So if it changes by the time this comes out, that's why. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line. Was there anything else we need to wrap up with today?
Starting next week, you can get all the James Bond movies on Prime Video.
Perfect.
Every single one of them. Well, not the unofficial ones. The only ones you're not going to be able to get are Never Say Never Again and the 67 spoof of Casino Royale, but everything, including No Time to Die, will be available for 2 months, starting April 15th, and then No Time to Die will be available for a full year streaming, which was kind of interesting because when we last heard about this scenario, Paramount Plus had the streaming rights for No Time to Die because Epix, one of their cable channels, has the broadcast rights.
Oh, really?
So I guess maybe that Amazon MGM acquisition allows them to do it at the same time, or maybe they bought them out of the deal. But you will be able to catch up on all of them.
I was going to make the joke that we always work in James Bond's Marvel or Star Trek into this, and then I just remember there is a Star Trek story along with your Bond story.
Tell us the Star Trek story.
Did you see the thing for Picard Season 3?
Yes.
Pretty much the entire cast, other than Wesley Crusher, is going to be back for Season 3 from Star Trek The Next Generation.
Wish they should bring him back because, Nemesis almost did it in Canon Gambit.
You know what? The funny thing about this is, the really funny thing I should say, is it kind of spoils the end of Season 2 of Picard because it's like, well, he makes it.
Picard?
Yeah.
You would think so, considering everyone knew Season 3 was coming, but Season 3 will be the final one.
But they don't show any kind of trailer or do anything. I know they did it for First Contact Day, the holiday you hate, but...
I don't hate First Contact. No! I don't hate First Contact Day. Who said that?
Which one's the day you hate?
I hate marketing Star Wars Day. I celebrate Orthodox Star Wars Day when it opens.
Okay. Oh, May the 4th. May the 4th.
Yeah,
okay.
That's
okay.
the one I have problems with.
Jesus, calm down. Well, anyways, long story short, going back to it, usually they don't show anything about the next season until the second season or the current season is wrapped up. I thought that was surprising.
Oh no, that is surprising. But then again, they're filming right now, so they probably figured, okay, this might get out as a leak. We want to get ahead of this.
Yeah.
We're just gonna. Here you go, guys. It might also boost viewership for the end of season 2 as well.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season so far. But anyways, that was the Star Trek news. So there, we got most of it in there. Star Trek, James Bond, and anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me on the line, talk about movies and stuff. Mike.
Do you want to go for the full? You want to go for the full trifecta? Because I got a fun story.
Why not?
Did you happen to try and buy tickets for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness this week?
No, not yet.
I did. Boy. So, not naming names. I go through a major theater chain's app because I'm a subscriber.
Okay.
And I also go through another ticketing site. Both of them were booked to high heaven the morning that those tickets went out. I was continually told that there was an error occurring on the major theaters app. And then on and off, it would say that I wasn't signed in or my membership was not valid when it was. And this, it would tell me an error had occurred the last screen before purchasing.
Okay.
And then through the other app, they show a list of seats available. I go to click those seats, and then it's like, sorry, those seats aren't available.
Oh, no.
And it's like, wow, I looked at the theater app, and there's only 6 seats sold for this show. Because I need to get tickets for a 3D showing because, they don't really screen movies in 3D anymore. The number of 3D releases are dwindling to begin with, and it's just kind of sad. But anyway, I finally got my tickets after an hour and a half trying to buy them. But other people were encountering those issues as well.
Oh,
Meanwhile, my buddy in Iowa got tickets no problem to his local.
I need to buy them. It's always just a hassle to figure out when we're going to a movie to begin with because of kids. But we'll probably I'll probably see if I can go on Sunday with the wife. I want to go see it because I had a thought, and since we're on the Marvel thing, we might as well wrap up with it. There was an article this week that talked about how Thor: Love and Thunder. This is the latest that there hasn't been a trailer for an upcoming Marvel movie, and I believe it's coming out in July, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the reason we haven't gotten a trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder yet is because it has there's such a ripple effect from Doctor Strange 2 that they don't want to spoil anything?
Well, if it's not that, it's the fact that they probably want to just keep it for Doctor Strange.
Possibly, yeah. But
they released the Doctor Strange trailer with Spider-Man. Now in the world where they want to get as much money as possible out of these movies, you're going to see studios pushing for more of a theatrical exclusivity for their trailers.
And let's face it, it's everybody knows that movie's coming, so it's not like I always feel like the promotion for that, it's like you have to promote, but I don't think you have to promote 6 months out.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, I was thinking about that, whether or not Doctor Strange 2 is going to flip things so much that because there are different versions of Thor and stuff in this, and from what we understand from some of the leaks and releases. But I don't know. That's what I started to wonder is it so far off kilter because of Doctor Strange 2?
It just might be. They just it might be partially they're trying to play their cards closer to the vest at this point. But again, I think they really want to get people into theaters.
Oh, by the way, did you see the thing about Sam Raimi this week?
I believe I did, but refresh my memory.
A long story short, they asked him about making Spider-Man 4, and he basically said, sounds beautiful.
Yeah, I did see something like that. And I think that we may have a better angle for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to continue just because of the whole Morbius thing seeming to tie that universe together.
Yeah, but you know what? They're in a place now that Sony can do whatever they want with Spider-Man, if you think about it. I mean,
as long as the money's coming in, let's see what Morbius does.
I was going to say, well, Morbius is a far cry from Spider-Man, any one of them.
But it's Spider-Man adjacent. And there is no allusions to the fact that they are trying to make their own franchise. They were trying to do that when they wanted to break off from Marvel.
I get it, but still, it's one of those things that right now Spider-Man is hot enough that it doesn't matter what Spider-Man you came out with, you could do that movie.
Peter Parker, he's so hot right now. Peter.
It really is that. It really is. I mean, if you told me that they're going to make a Tobey Maguire movie, I would go see it in a heartbeat. If you told me they're going to make another Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, I'd go see it, no problem. And you know what? I'm guessing that's a pretty big consensus around the country that they would go see those movies. And there would be money there.
Yeah, but even if Sony wants to, I have a good feeling they're not going to want to move unless Marvel Studios gives them the okay, because the last time that it jeopardized relations, it was shaky and the fans did respond.
Yeah.
This I can have an opinion on.
Here we go.
I'm allowed to, when it comes to sensitive issues that the public have opinions on and that really we're not a part of, that involve people, you got to walk a line with that because that's what journalists do. But when it's
Mike
something
Reyes
like, the box office grosses for cut me off. When it comes to box office grosses or can they make this movie or that, I'm allowed to say whatever I want, as long as it's not offensive to people. And if I've offended anyone with my opinion that I don't think Sony has full reign on Spider-Man, even though they may legally do so, then I apologize. Boy, you just really want to peter out here. Have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I'll wrap things up here. Well, B-sox is like catatonic. He's watching a piano. He's imagining his Michael Bay piano.
The helicopter scene alone would be worth it.
Explosions.